A very warm welcome, everybody. I'm delighted to introduce two real-life 5G customers. Let me first introduce Patrick McCarron. Patrick's an iOS engineer and a 5G home customer. And also we're joined today by Jack Selwood, who's a professional web developer and also a 5G home customer. I'm wearing my 5G shirt today, so let's get on with it and talk a little bit about 5G. Conversation today is really to understand what the user experience, what the customer experience is in the 5G world. So I'm going to start with you, Patrick, and just tell me, how did you become a 5G home customer?
Yeah, for me, it was interesting because I got the new iPhone 12 and I was like, oh, this 5G speed is really great. I live in a neighborhood that they were building it out in. And I noticed, I didn't even know it was a home option at all. I was like, this would be great in the home. I remember talking to friends about like, I'd do this if they offered it. And then I literally noticed on a light pole across from one of the nodes that they built out of my neighborhood, a little sticker saying 5G home now available. I was like, that's awesome. But that was like probably November. And I'm a little further down the street, so I entered my address, didn't come up. But then I noticed one day I walked out of my apartment and it lit up on my phone as like UW, ultra wideband. I was like, oh, it's near my house now. I wonder if it works on my apartment. And I entered the address. I sat near my window and it worked great. So I was like, okay, I think I can get it. And now I have it.
If I asked you, Jack, the same thing, what was your experience? How did you discover the product?
It is super similar experience. I saw all these towers going up in downtown Omaha, where I'm located. I got the new 5G iPhone and I've been hotspotting with it a lot more, kind of as things have started to go back to normal a little bit here, hotspotting with my laptop in coffee shops. I was like, gosh, this is so fast. It would be great if I could get it at home. And sure enough, it was available finally, and I was able to get it.
I think I'm right in saying that you both had different experiences when it came to setup. So, Jack, if I start with you, I think you went the whole way through and self-setup. So just give me a flavor. How was that?
So I actually, before sort of becoming a web developer and product manager, I spent about 5 years in the IT business. So I've set up so many routers and so many modems and, worked with so many different ISPs. And the fact that this beautifully designed box, it almost felt, like an Apple product or like opening an iPhone with a super simple process that was through the app. It wasn't through, a weird website. I didn't have to call anyone, like moving the router around, like on my window, trying to find the best signal. The fact that I was able to do it all on my own in 15, 20 minutes was the easiest internet I've ever set up, but arguably the most, technically complex. So
amazing. And just remind our audience, Jack, are you in a house, an apartment? Give me an idea of the sort of location.
Yeah, I'm in the 8th floor of an apartment building, kind of an old warehouse with really thick brick walls. So I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to get the service, but there's actually two antennas or nodes for ultra wideband near me. And so I was able to kind of try both and pick the one that worked best.
So now people are loving where you live and the fact that it's got super fast connectivity as well. Patrick, Give me a flavor of your experience with the whole installation process. Which approach did you go?
I probably skipped over the step that it gave me the option of one or the other, home or self. I kind of just went with it. I was like, when can I get an appointment? How quickly will they show up? And they showed up next, like I had an appointment, I can get the appointment the next day. And that's also faster than shipping, like waiting for a home kit to be delivered. So I was like, let's just go for this. Like I didn't even try to go back and do a self-install. Guy showed up pretty much first thing in the morning, had me up and running within a half hour. He tested all the windows that face the two nodes, because I also have similarly two nodes. One is really close, one's a little bit further down at an angle. So he tried both and got really good signal off of one. And he was, after about less than an hour, set up and a nice clean install with the wire along the windowsill. And it was all set to go.
Excellent. And Patrick, again, an apartment, a house, just give me a flavor, location.
I'm in a Chicago 4-story walk-up apartment building. So I'm on the top floor. So I do have a little bit of visual over the buildings nearby to hopefully, in this case, I can see just over a building that's between the node and me. And it syncs pretty solid all the time.
So now the real question is, so setup is kind of interesting, but, what's the click to bang like? What's the speed like? What's the sort of experience? Maybe Patrick, start with you. What are you experiencing? And just give me a flavor what your type of usage. Are you a gamer? You stream a video? What sort of things are you doing just to put the service to test?
All of it. So I work from home. I do a lot of Zoom calls. We're on Zoom calls pretty much all day long. So getting good video quality from my end out is also important. So I wanted to have good upload speed, and I didn't want that to dominate my upload stream from my current ISP that I had. So I was like, I wanted more. They couldn't offer me anything more. So I was mostly interested in the upload speed of any new service. I already had a gigabit down. So I was like, at least if I get close to that, like I don't need that type of speed all the time, but anything close to that is great. So the day of install, he synced me at around 800, which I was like, okay, that's good. Like that's pretty much what I was getting from my cable connection already. So that's par for the course, and the upload speed was over 100. So I was like,
oh, right.
That was 5 times better than I was getting from my previous. So like I'm on board. But then a couple days later, I started syncing higher, and I'm now thinking around 1200 consistently from Verizon. So I'm very happy with that.
That's excellent, and I think from an experience point of view, increasingly one of the hidden treasures in 5G is actually going to be uplink through a combination of broader bandwidth, but plus carrier aggregation as well. Sometimes we joke is that the real proof of the network is that when you're standing in the mosh pit at the concert, when we're all back doing things live, other people trying to get a text out and you're banging out 4K video. That's a great use case. So Jack, for you, just again, same thing. What are you using it for? What sort of speeds and experience are you seeing?
Very similar to Patrick. I work in the tech industry, so on Zoom calls all day, downloading large files of the latest software builds. And the upload speed that my previous cable ISP offered, I think the maximum I got was 20 down or something like that. And I had to upload a video for a conference recently, a recording for a virtual conference, and uploading an HD file that's several gigs with a speed like that. I missed my deadline to upload it, and so I consistently get about 500 down and 50 up, which is just so much faster. And I'm of course doing this video call over the 5G home internet as well, and it's more consistent. I downloaded a game the other day, like an entire game from Steam, and it downloaded in minutes instead of an hour or 30 minutes. And so it's just, it's not just faster during tests. It seems like consistently faster throughout the day.
And I think that's one of the things for us is I know you've moved from other providers, but not only the downlink and uplink, but just that quality and consistency all the time. Because sometimes with other products, it's essentially contended capacity. When your neighbors get home, you all have to share. So sounds like you're getting the benefit of that excellent bandwidth that we have in our 5G ultra wideband network. Can I just ask either of you gamers or things that where particularly latency or lag might be relevant? Any particular experience there?
Yeah, so I made sure one of the tests I wanted to make sure when I had both up and running was I do some competitive playing occasionally on like Battle Royale games. And I was like, I want to make sure that my latency on this service was good. So I fired up a couple different games, and on both, I would literally just go over and switch my entire home internet to the other service and do number comparisons on network graphs and paying exclusively attention to latency to make sure my latency wasn't worse. In my case, I found it was better. I was getting consistently better numbers, which, part of me is like, it's wireless. How is it better? But it definitely was. Like, maybe because I'm closer to the network from the node than I was from my cable provider. But yeah, I definitely noticed an improvement and not a detriment at all for latency.
A couple of questions, if I may, just kind of pull the pieces together. Now that you've had the experience, if somebody said to you, you know what, I don't really get why 5G. Sure, in both of your cases, you're seeing better speed and performance, but you're both techie people. What are you excited about in the 5G space? Maybe Jack, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I am a little bit of a nerd. I've followed 5G and its deployment and antenna technology a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's just fast, and I'm excited as mid-band 5G starts to get rolled out. Maybe see a boost in performance continue to. It feels like I sort of got on a rocket ship, and it's going to continue going and improving. And there's almost. I've been a cable customer for so long, and there just never seems to be a ton of innovation around speed or performance or the equipment and the hardware. And, it feels like this is the beginning of something, pretty cool.
And you, Patrick?
Very similarly, like I've been a cable customer. I think my first cable internet was new at the time. I got it back in like probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago almost, back in college days. And I've been following that technology, and similarly, like it seems to hit a cap, like where it's not getting better. I know, like personally already with my iPhone, I'm getting better data rates like from my phone than I do even from this box in the house right now. And that's promising to me of like where this is gonna go. Like the possibilities are pretty much endless if I'm already getting this signal quality on my phone. That's this. Like small little device and I get data rates that just seem unreal. Whenever I'd share speed tests with my friends, they're like, wait, that's a real? I'm like, that's totally real. Like it's not a glitch. I'm not showing some like bug in the test software. It's really downloading that fast. And it's consistent. I've tested, as Jack mentioned, like tethering my laptop to it occasionally because it's right down the street from me. I'll go out and sit in a park that's nearby one and just work remotely. And it just if it doesn't feel real, it's just so fast.
Tell me a question for both of you, if you don't mind me asking. Were you Verizon Wireless customers before you discovered the 5G home product? And if so, has your view of Verizon changed now that you've had the true 5G built right experience? So Patrick, maybe stick with you first.
Yeah, I've been a Verizon customer probably for at least probably close to 10 years now. So I was already on it, and I've definitely noticed much better. I switched to you because service in Chicago was always superior than the other carriers I used, where I'd had like no data connection from other carriers. Like it just was very disappointing to try to use the internet on my phone anywhere I wanted to and have issues, especially in crowded spots like going to a ballpark, like going to Wrigley Field. I would never like AT&T. I had T-Mobile for a little bit. I just wouldn't get signal. Like, but Verizon, my friend's like, I got signal, works fine. So I switched and I've never looked back because in those crowded situations, I always had signal. And now you guys have already built out 5G, ultra wideband in Wrigleyville where I live now. Like Wrigley Field's down the street from me and it's all over the neighborhood. So wherever I'm going now, I'm getting great data connection. I don't have to worry about it. It just works.
I was a T-Mobile customer for a really long time. And the first device that I got on Verizon was actually a cellular iPad. I had T-Mobile at the time, and I said, okay, I want to kind of experiment and have two cellular services just for, kind of a limited period of time. And I would regularly like hotspot from my phone or my laptop to the Verizon powered iPad just because the speeds, and this was before 5G, were so much better. And then I was working remotely on a work trip in an airport, and I was tethering and to my T-Mobile phone, and I wasn't able to hop on a Zoom call, and I got so frustrated. So that night in the hotel room, bought new iPhones on Verizon. I was just like, you know what? I just need the best. I'm working, I'm traveling, and it's frustrating to not have service that's excellent. And so when the 5G home internet came out, I was like, oh my gosh, if I can, buy all of my internet through Verizon, it's been such a good experience. I'd love to do that next. So Verizon for me is like, I buy Apple products, I buy really high quality technology. And Verizon is that in terms of all the ISPs and cellular carriers.
That's great. And Jack, if our audience didn't know before now you know. There are two sages from Omaha, Nebraska. Jack is the sage of what really matters when it comes to connectivity. And Patrick, I'm not sure that we can necessarily do anything special for the Cubs, but hopefully bringing the power of 5G to Wrigleyville and Wrigley Field means that we can bring you the best of those gaming experiences, whether those be when you're connected or when you're down with your favorite team. Listen, to both of you, a huge thank you for joining us today. More importantly, thank you for being Verizon customers, and thank you for your views and your perception and your positive attitude to 5G built right as you experience 5G home. Thank you both very much today.